How you doing, guys? Welcome to my channel, Mets Season, where you get Mets content and MLB news from around the league. Well, today I'm going to call this video my Mets Spring Training Edition. I just want to go over some things. As most of us know, spring training starts today. So I want to go over some things that we need to look out for as Met fans, And, there may be a younger audience out there that may not know how the players tend to work themselves in to prepare for the season. So I just wanted to touch on that. And the first person I want to talk about, and to me, the most important is Edwin Diaz. His 2 years with the Mets, both spring trainings, he's had terrible spring training outings. So obviously we want to change that, right? Last year he had a little bit of a rough start. I'm not gonna exaggerate. People exaggerate. With Edwin Diaz's start last year, he gave up that homer to Ozuna in the Brave series early in the year. But I mean, it was a good pitch. I look for location. When pitchers give up homers, sometimes hitters, they hit a good pitch out of the park. And I have a friend that's a veteran, in catching. No, he didn't play the major leagues, but as far as high end playing, he played amateur ball and he's an AAU coach. His hitting instructor for his AAU team is the Yankees assistant to the hitting instructor. So, this guy's connected. And I remember he told me, he said that was a terrible call by Ramos, calling that pitch. And, as we know, Ramos wasn't exactly a favorite to the Mets pitching staff. So, yeah, the first guy we want to look at, Edwin Diaz. We want to see him dominate. We want to see him come out, dominate from the get-go. We don't want to waste no time with Diaz. We don't want any worries, anything lingering. So we're going to look at Edwin Diaz first. Number two for me is Pete Alonso. Pete worried me a little bit, what I saw last year, mainly because he's a power hitter. And I saw him whiffing and chasing a lot of sliders and breaking pitches away. And when you see that, and plus the fact that he's a power hitter, you know, it'll lead to a poor average. Yes, he hit 40 home runs with his eyes closed. We understand that. But that's not everything. Not to me at least. You know, I want to see a higher batting average with runners in scoring position. Every ball doesn't have to fly out of the ballpark, you know, for a solo shot or a two-run homer. I want to see better at bats with runners in scoring position. And I know it's just spring training, but I'd rather see Pete in the spring get 18 hits and 15 of them are singles and doubles than to see him get 7 homers and strike out 25 times. That's just me. And I believe Pete can do it. I have no doubts about it. We got Chili Davis back in there. Pete is so strong that if he just sat back, waited on the pitch a little bit more, the ball's gonna go out of the park. If this is one thing I used to point out to a friend of mine during last season was in 2019, his awesome rookie year, a lot of his home runs were to dead center, right center, towering drives, which means he waited on the pitch, which was great. If you look at his home runs last year, the 16 he hit, 13 of them, I believe about 12 to 13 of them, easily that high number, were all pulled down the line. A lot of them were pulled directly down the line. Why? Because he was unbalanced and ahead of the pitch. A couple of those home runs they hit right down, he was fooled on. The ball just left the ballpark because it's Pete Alonso. So I look at those things. Even if the ball's out of the park, some fans ignore it, but I'm looking and I'm like, he was unbalanced. It was a lucky shot. That kind of stuff. And it's not to be a pessimist and be negative. It's because I know we need him to do better, and I know he can do better. So again, we want to look at Pete Alonso, how he's staying back on the pitches and laying off those breaking pitches. If you see him taking the pitch nice and calm, he sees it all the way, we're good. We're good with Pete. The third part is as a group, the relievers. You know, as we know, we lost Lugo now for the start of the season, probably for the first couple of months. Excuse me. And so we want to see how the other guys uh, perform. Uh, Specifically, Lucchese, guys like Yamamoto. Those guys that we really don't know about. But we know that there's potential there, especially with Lucchese. The guy's got a really good arm and he's still young. So I'm excited to see what he can bring because I believe he can contribute and be really solid. Even if it's like not starting, if he can, come out of the bullpen, even long relief, a start where a pitcher only lasts 2 or 3 innings, we can bring him in. If he can give us 2 or 3 innings and do well, that brings value also. I know, like I mentioned, I believe in my last video, Pat Mahomes did a great job at being a long reliever. And I just keep forgetting this guy's name. It was in 2006, left-handed reliever. He won like 7 or 8 games in long relief, like coming in games like that, where our start only lasted 2 or 3 innings. He'd come in the third, pitch the third, fourth, fifth. I believe he was from Colorado too. I forgot his name, but he was from the Rockies, so I have to check up on that. But he won in 2006, a year that the Mets were really, really good, and probably should have won the World Series also. He won like about 7 or 8 games out of the pen like that in long relief. He would come in and the dude would, 4 innings, 1 run, 3 innings, no run, 4 innings, no runs. That's value, man. That's value because that if your starter is shaky, that you have a guy to come in and shut that down and give your team still a chance to win. So we want to look at the relievers, the middle relief, and then Trevor May also being in the back end. But I think he'll be all right. Another thing too, I don't know if I have any young subscribers that may not know, but with the pitching, specifically the starters, DeGrom, their first 2 starts, if they give up 3, 4 runs in 2 or 3 innings, no worries. These guys are just there trying to stretch their arm out, prepare their arms. So for the first like couple of outings, the first 2 outings, say the first 6 innings, 5, 6 innings that they pitch, they're basically just throwing fastballs. They're trying to locate their pitches, like I said, prepare for that. And then you start to see like their third start as they stretch out more into pitching 3 and 4 innings in that start. They'll start to use their breaking pitches, their curveball, sliders, whatever it is that they throw, their secondary pitches. As far as a changeup, you may see a couple of changeups in the first couple of innings that they throw because the changeup is not, there's not much torque in the arm for that. It's basically a fastball, and the way you palm it or hold the ball, it takes velocity off the pitch. But for any young subscribers that are out there that may be watching, don't worry if you see DeGrom or any of the starters, Carrasco, Stroman, especially Stroman, because he throws a lot of sliders and 2-seamers and stuff like that. So you maybe you might see Stroman early on throw a slider too, because that's just his repertoire in pitching. So don't worry again. If you see 3 or 4 runs given up, just as you see the third and fourth start that just start, maybe 2 weeks left in spring training before they head out, then you'll start to see them, prepare and try to strike guys out because they're nearing the start of the season. All right, so you want to look at that. We want to look at that, and of course, if they finish with a great ERA, that's a plus. That's good right there. Um, Also, too, you want to see J.D. Davis at third. He's gonna get a lot of run at third. Uh, you're gonna see him a lot at third base. You'll probably see him mixed in a little bit of left field. We'll see Nemo out there. Obviously, we know that. And then they're gonna implement. You should see the manager Rojas and the coaching staff. Um, See how it is that they're gonna use the. I'm gonna put all of them together: center field, left field, and third base. We want to see how that's going. Obviously, we know Almora has had issues with the bat. We have Pilar now. We know he can hit. Um, you know, we want to see the balls hit in the gap. Can Pilar still track those down? Because, people are still commenting, oh, he's a center field. The guy's been playing right field. Even before he went to Boston last year in San Francisco, he was playing right field. I watched those games, especially National League games. I watch games from the Giants. I watch games from the Padres. I can tell you the history of the Mets, who the Mets play well against, who they don't. So I watch those games because I love baseball. I don't just watch the Mets. I watch, I'm not going to say as much, but I do watch a lot of games and a lot of different teams. Even if it's half the game, 3, 4 innings, I watch. And Pilar was playing right field already like 2 or 3 years ago. So we'll see if he plays center. Can he track those balls down? How he looks. Remember, he played in Toronto with that horrible turf. That guy back then was amazing, though. You know, and so we'll see. We'll see with basically how they use that center field, left field, and third base. Keep your eyes on that, especially JD defensively. And as far as with JD, all you want to see him is make the routine plays. Nobody's saying to be Arenado, stop a ball down the line and your body's halfway into the dugout throwing a, no, if that happens, great, but just make the routine plays. Turn the double plays. The throw to second, field it cleanly, field what's hit directly at you. Occasionally, yes, you want him to make a play going left, going right, backhanded, yes. But just make the routine plays. Be solid. Be a solid defender is all that's being asked. And also, too, if, you might see him play a little bit of left field also. So, just be solid, be consistent. Same thing with Don Smith in left field. We know Dom is a first baseman, a really good one. Um, you know, so we want to see what happens there with that, all right? So those are the most important things that we need to look at. So I want to thank you guys. Please like, comment, subscribe, and over and out. Let's go Mets.